Hello, so Renee posted a video. She said, "Hi David, you mentioned sleep a few times in this video. I'm wondering how you improved your sleep. How did you get to the point that you can fall back to sleep when you wake up during the night?" Okay, well, let me talk a little bit about what we say is insomnia, because I don't know exactly where you are with insomnia, but if this is a situation where it occasionally happens, where you wake up and you can't fall back to sleep, but then overall you're sleeping decent, I wouldn't say you have a big problem. So for example, maybe this week, once or twice, you wake up and then you can't fall back to sleep, and maybe you only got like 4 hours that night, but the other nights you got 6 or 7 or something like that. I would say you don't have a big problem, and it's okay. That being said, just working on your anxiety levels should, be helpful to improve that even more. So, the next type of insomnia would be where this is happening almost every day, and you're getting maybe, 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, so it's never quite enough. You wake up and you just can't go back to sleep. In this case, you're getting closer to where you might want to use some kind of a supplement or even a medicine. And I always recommend magnesium. There's that Calm brand magnesium, and if you take that maybe in an hour and a half before you are going to go to sleep, or even a half hour is fine, that should be very helpful. The other thing is, just overall in general, a lot of people are low on vitamin D. And vitamin D is good for sleep and anxiety, but it takes a few months, maybe even several months, to build back up to the levels that you should have. So you can get tested for vitamin D deficiency. A lot of people have it, or you could just put yourself on a supplement. Either way, it's cheap to get a test, though, usually. Okay, but if you kind of have a pattern of waking up, you can start getting into the cognitive behavioral therapy stuff. You want to make sure you go to sleep every night at the same night. And if you have a really rough night, decide what your wake-up time is. So, for example, if you go to sleep every night at 11 o'clock and your wake-up time is 7 a.m., go ahead and wake up at 7 a.m. So let's say you went to sleep at 11 and then 2 hours later you woke up and you kind of couldn't sleep, but then you fell back asleep and maybe overall you got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Go ahead and get up at 7 o'clock, go outside, see the sunlight. Getting some sunlight early in the day can help reset your body clock. You can also take melatonin, like if you go to sleep at 11 o'clock, maybe 30 minutes before, maybe at 10:30, take melatonin. That can help kind of set your body clock. It doesn't really help you get into a deep sleep, but it can be helpful. You can also take things like antihistamines. Those are often prescribed for sleep. Well, I think actually they are prescribed. They're not prescribed, but it's an over-the-counter medicine for sleep. And antihistamines, I believe Benadryl is one, but I hate to mention names and then be wrong. But antihistamines, there's a couple different kinds. There's like a type 1 and type 2, and they can work differently, so you can try both ways. And that can be good to take before sleep. You could take, and I'm not a doctor, so make sure you read everything and do your research, but I'm just telling you what I did. You could take melatonin and antihistamine and the magnesium, and you've got a nice little like package that'll maybe help you go to sleep better. So that's like what I call the middle of the road insomnia. You sometimes get 6 or 7 hours of sleep. Sometimes it's only 3 or 4. So it's kind of not good enough, but you need to do something. Don't be afraid, and don't tell yourself all day long that you're worried about sleep. If you spend a lot of time worrying about going to sleep, it's going to help reinforce that. So back to the CBT. I know I'm bouncing around, the cognitive behavioral therapy. You want to make sure you prepare a nice, comfortable bed. you want to make sure you can dim the lights or get the room very dark. That's very good for, I might have to sneeze in a second, for going to sleep. Choose to not look at the internet or anything bright before you go to sleep. Maybe read a book. You might need a little light for that. That's fine. But, overall, make the room kind of darker. And do something neutral like read a book. Maybe not watch TV. Reading a book can really make you kind of bored and tired. If you wake up in the middle of the night, something like stretching or reading a book, or you could draw or write, things like that can be good to just sort of get you to calm back down and go to sleep. What you don't want to do is spend a lot of time thinking about how bad it is that you're not sleeping. You need to just accept, okay, right now I'm not sleeping. Okay. Another thing about the CBT for sleep is if you're laying there in bed for more than about 30 minutes, they say it's better to get up out of bed for a little while and just go ahead and wake up for a little while and, do some stretching, do some yoga. You could even do a light walk around the house or something like that. And then come back and try again. But it's not a good idea for the bed to become sort of a place of torture for you. You want the bed to be a wonderful place that you love to lay down in. And you can say that. I love my bed. It's so comfortable. I love the soft pillows. If you don't have soft pillows, buy some good soft pillows. Heavy blankets. That is proven to help you go to sleep better. You can buy some heavier blankets or get some extra blankets and make it so it's kind of like heavy on your body. It's like, I think it's like you feel like somebody's hugging you. It kind of gives that feeling and it helps you to go to sleep. So that's good stuff. Now, on the third level of insomnia, which I had, I went 5 days with no sleep. I got these, these little electric shocks that would go through my body when I tried to fall asleep. And it was awful. And then after I did finally go to sleep after 5 days because I basically collapsed. I would be lucky to get 1 hour, 2 hours, occasionally 3 hours, and I needed medication. Part of what happens in insomnia is your body gets into a different pattern. So that's why I was talking about before, going to sleep at the same time, not making the bed a torture place, waking up and seeing the sunlight, or even if you didn't sleep, see the sunlight when it comes up. Because it can take some time for the body clock to get back to normal, which really sucks. Like if you got really, really bad insomnia where you're only sleeping for a little short while, and like I was sometimes it would be 30 minutes, 0, 1 hour, and then finally I'd get 4 or 5 hours. It was awful. In that case, it can take some time to get the body clock back to normal, and medication can really be what you need. That's my opinion. And I remember I was taking a benzo. I was taking Ativan, and that would at least get me an hour or two of sleep because it was that bad. I wasn't even sure I'd get an hour or two for the whole day. I could not take a nap. Impossible. And then they said, well, if you're going to keep doing the Ativan, you're going to need to be on an antidepressant and maybe even a sleep med. So I did that too. And I got on the antidepressant, but they said the antidepressant will take you at least 2 or 3 months before you start to see the result, which I did. And I took another, the antidepressant was Zoloft. And then I took Seroquel, which is a sleep med. And that's a heavy duty one. I actually liked it in the sense it got me to go to sleep, and I could get 6 hours sometimes. There's another one, I can't remember the name, that was not so strong. But these, in my opinion, if you're taking small doses of these types of meds, they'll help you get some sleep. And they're not going to like knock you out or something. Don't be afraid. They'll just kind of help you fall into sleep better. And I took Seroquel. I wish I could remember the other one. It's also an antihistamine, but it's by prescription, and it can be an antidepressant as well. I can't remember the name, unfortunately. And it worked for about 2 months. But I was on 3 meds for a little while: a benzo, the sleep med, Seroquel, and also the antidepressant. And I slowly got off of all of them. but I kind of needed to do it so that I could get the body clock set back, because my insomnia was that bad. I was lucky to get 3 hours of sleep in one night, and this was going on for months. I finally started getting my sleep back about at the 5.5 month point, approximately, maybe 6 month point. And then it still took a little bit longer, more like closer to maybe a year before I would say, like, wow, I'm sleeping 8 hours sometimes. And I'm not waking up so many times in the middle of the night and then falling back to sleep. That was sort of a facet I noticed. I would, like, when I was starting to get a little better, I would still wake up every hour. And my strategy with the sleep medications was I took if the prescription was one pill, I cut it into quarters. I took a quarter, went to sleep. If I woke up, I took another quarter. If I woke up, I took another quarter. And that way I didn't get really, hooked on taking a strong dosage. But it got me into a better place slowly but surely. And that's not what the doctor told me to do. So I might have been wrong. But I liked what I did because I was kind of afraid to take a strong dose of the sleep med. And I read about, like, side effects and stuff. So I never had any. So I was good. But anyways, I hope that's kind of an overview of insomnia. Now, as far as, you should definitely have a background noise near your head that is very close to the sound of your tinnitus. That can help a lot too. And do a lot of neutral activities where you're not thinking a lot. Read the book, draw, do some stretching. But I love reading because it makes you follow each word in the book, and you can't think about other things because you're stuck reading. And that prevents you from having the anxious thoughts so much because you have to read the book. So force yourself to read the book until you get tired. Okay, so that's about all I can say. I'm sure there's something else that would come to mind, but hopefully that'll give you some good stuff, Renee. I'll see you. All right.